Fellas, there's something I have to admit. I'm a furry. In Mafia the Old Country. Yeah, that's definitely what I meant. That's right, Mafia the Old Country. The game that's meant to be about extorting local businesses, indiscriminately murdering rival gang members, and engaging in romance with the Don's daughter. But instead, this game allows you to become a furry. No, I'm not making that up. So, in this video, we'll be playing through the entirety of the game in order to embrace our inner fursona. That's right, our. By clicking on this video, you yourself admit that you too are a furry. Should have read the fine print. Anyway, enough funny business, let's begin embracing. Sicily, 1904. We're workers for the Spadaro Mafia. Correction, our father sold us to the Spadaro Mafia for 100 lira. As a result of this betrayal, we're forced to work in inhumane conditions inside the sulfur mines of Zolfo. Deep in the mines lies our friend Gaetano and I, and we're currently moving our secret stash of cash since the volcano is doing a little trolling. As we begin to surface, we encounter Il Merlot, and he's assaulting one of our fellow co-workers. We attempt to intervene in the matter, but he threatens to remove my nose. Quickly escaping from that awkward situation, we decide to grab some food, but the cook declines our request, stating that we lack the necessary amount of social credit. So we snuck in the warehouse to steal some bread. But before we get to indulge, we're ordered to go back into the mine to locate a group that went missing. Shortly after, we managed to find them sleeping on the job, but as we approached them, the cave started collapsing and gas began leaking into the shaft. On our way out, Gaetano realizes that he dropped the money somewhere back and ran inside to get it, but the cave collapsed, crushing him. This forces us into a rage and we pull a knife on Il Merlot. Fortunately, we made one quick slash and nearly blinded him. But before he had a chance to strike back, the earth began quaking again and the structure we were under began collapsing, causing me to jump off the side of the edge. Once we reached the bottom, the armed guards above us began opening fire, so I stole a horse and rode towards a distant barn. Later that night, we hear a car roll up to the barn. It's Il Merlot and a couple of lackeys. As we attempt to sneak away, we're discovered and he attempts to pull some kinky knife shit on me, but a gunshot rings out from behind him. Turns out, in our desperate attempt to escape, we wandered onto land owned by the Teresi Mafia, and of course, they don't take kindly to rival mobs on their land, so Don Teresi uses the power of ultra masculinity to scare away all beta males within a 7-kilometer radius. Once all the beta males fled, he recruits us as the newest member of the Teresi Mafia and asks Luca to take me back to the Teresi estate. Luca shows me to my room where I promptly collapse onto the bed and sleep for 32 hours straight. When I'm awakened from my coma, I'm told to do menial tasks around the place and join them for the big meal at the end of the day.
I've seen dogs with more restraint.
A few months go by and we're approaching the date of a big festival in the town of San Celeste, which includes a big horse racing event. Before we get to enjoy the festivities, it's time to get down to business. Luca has us joining him in making deliveries, and the first stop is Pasquale's shop. We're here to drop off some watches, purchase a new knife, as well as learn how to use it. And after getting my ass beat by Luca, we're off to San Celeste to watch the horse races. Unfortunately, the guy riding for our gang is out of commission. It seems he took quite the pounding last night as his wife whipped out the strap-on and went to town on him. As a result, his ass is so sore he can't bear riding a horse, so I volunteer myself to ride in his stead. And of course, for lore reasons, I win the race with ease. But we don't get to celebrate our victory as creepy Uncle Tino forces us to deliver wine. It works out for us as Isabella joins us to make the deliveries, but it quickly takes a turn when we take a shortcut and Leombra is hiding around the corner. So we whip out the shank and show him how it's done in London. But just as we're about to claim victory, Luca rolls up and uses his unbridled Chad aura to scare them all away. A few days later, we receive a note from Isabella. She wants us to meet her in the garden so we can talk. Sadly, right when I arrive, creepy Uncle Tino interrupts us, threatens to molest me, and leaves without elaborating further. What a strange old man. On my way back to work, I'm told that Luca is looking for me and we should meet him in the stables. Turns out it's collection day and we need to visit some families that barely make ends meet and squeeze them for their last couple bucks. Cause well, we're literally the Mafia. What did you expect? The first guy pays up right away, which is unfortunate for me cause I wanted to get a little violent. Oh, whoa. Sorry about that. Almost forgot my antipsychotics today. Now, where was I? Oh yes, the second stop. This guy is behind on payments. As such, Luca expects him to be a little apprehensive about paying up. So he hands me an unloaded gun to look a little tougher, which, after 3 seconds of dialogue, I whip out and point it directly at his son. Of course, he didn't like that and he directed me to the safe in the back where I rob him of his net worth. The third stop is a mine. Some kind of deal fell through so the owner didn't get paid and didn't pay his employees. Now, the workers are on strike. Unfortunately for them, the Mafia doesn't take kindly to socialist ideals, and as such, I beat the hell out of the ringleader until he's on the brink of death. That'll teach them to demand fair pay. The fourth stop isn't quite a collection run, but rather retrieving goods from a police impound. You see, Master Eno Cordova here runs the port and there was a sudden personnel change with the guards. As a result of that, they found a shipment of American whiskey and decided it would be best to liberate it. So before the government drinks our fortune away, we have to steal it back. The plan is simple. Leo will distract the guards out front and Cesare will boost me over the wall so I can locate the crate. There's a few potential locations for the whiskey to be hiding, and as always, the whiskey is in the last place we check. So we unlock the gate for Cesare and Leo lures the guard back to the bar. Now we can load everything up and bring it back to the bar. The fifth and final stop is an angry farmer who had his water pump stolen. Now, before we can collect payment, it's our job to track these guys down and retrieve the pump. Once we find them, Luca takes our gun and loads it up. Finally, we get to have a little fun. Now we have a mess to clean up. After we finish the cleanup, we deliver the stolen pump back to its rightful owner, but not before we force this old man to dip into his retirement savings to pay us off. As the new year is upon us, the Don is expecting a couple of important guests, Baron Fontanella and his son Gennaro. The Don has set up a date type thing between Isabella and this rich entitled dickhead. Bro is actively hurting his shoulder trying to start the car. I don't think he's experienced pain a day in his life. Anyway, we're tasked with keeping Isabella safe, so we take the horses out, and as we ride up the road, we discover their car stalled out. For some reason, Gennaro won't lift his ass up and start the car, so I have to do it. Once I get the car started for him, he thanks me by attempting to run me down. What a gentleman. As we arrive at the ruins, Isabella and Gennaro go off and do their own thing and leave us to guard the car. Well, I hope he has insurance. As we're racing his car around Mario Kart style, we hear gunshots in the distance followed by Isabella screaming. So I commit an act of vehicular manslaughter before ducking behind cover. With most people taken care of, we see the last few load up Isabella and Gennaro into their wagon while Cesare rolls up with the car so we can pursue. After enduring a couple jumps and firebombs, the car isn't quite performing well anymore, so I shoot a guy off his horse and jump onto it from the car. As soon as I catch up to them, I make another jump, but this time onto their cart. Here we absolutely clean house since these guys are a little retarded as they pretty much let me throw them off. That is until the driver whips out the sawed-off and attempts to give me a little off the top. But using my brain, I quickly get out of the fucking way, taking Isabella with me. As a result of this, we're generously rewarded, but we aren't done there, as for some reason Enzo wants to go back and save Gennaro. Personally, I would have left him, but I guess we have to get him now. After tracking him to the base, I have to use stealth to get to the top and save Gennaro. I almost make it all the way through too, but of course some stupid shit has to happen. I'm sneaking up on this guy, I attempt to throw my knife, but he swings it instead, which forces me to uncrouch. And of course, he hears this. And now here's the real issue. Instead of stabbing the guy before he makes any sort of sound, Enzo whips out the whetstone to sharpen his knife. Great. Once we save Gennaro, we challenge the leader of the bandits to a knife fight. I have no clue why he actually accepted, considering he could have just eviscerated me and lived to see another day, but oh well, works to my favor. We arrive back at the estate, and just as everyone's gearing up to storm the camp, we return Gennaro to his father. A few days later, we meet Isabella in the church and profess our love to her before going to meet with her father. Don Teresi informs us that the Baron's business partner was behind the kidnapping the other day and that we need to put an end to him. So we meet up with creepy Uncle Tino's crew to scope out the place. Once Ludovici arrives, we're tasked with sneaking into his place and bringing him back alive. In order to do that, we'll have to stealth around the Spadaro guards. This isn't a hard task since most of them lack any amount of peripheral vision. We sneak into Ludovici's office and beat him with a statue. Dragging him outside, it would appear as if they noticed me somehow. Fortunately, there's a perfectly pre-placed rifle here and we can take them down with ease. But of course, the second my back was turned, Ludovici made a break for it and hid in this shed thing. So we knock his ass out, load him in the car, deliver him to Tino, and after carrying his ass all the way out here, he tells us to kill him. What the hell was the point of bringing him here? I could have done this when I broke into his office. Oh well. The next morning, a couple of guys followed the suspicious money trail leading to the fingerless corpse of Ludovici. Man, creepy Uncle Tino is really fucking sadistic. But the creepy vibes aren't over yet. We're awakened in the middle of the night by Cesare and lured into a dungeon. Inside we find what appears to be some sort of cult gathering where they plan to sacrifice me to the gods to lift the family curse. Just kidding. It's some initiation type deal to make Enzo part of the Teresi family. After we agree to the terms and conditions of the Teresi clan, we get to have a party. Even better, we get to drive drunk and watch Cesare piss off the side of the bridge before we head to the bar to finish the night off. The next morning, Cesare wants to show us something. He's gifted us an apartment. It was completely free too, considering the previous tenants had an, unfortunate incident. A couple weeks later, we're called to a place in the middle of nowhere. As it turns out, Spadaro bought Ludovici's share of the mines and has upset the balance of power. With tensions rising, Don Teresi doesn't want to leave this unanswered, so he's decided to start printing hentai waifu comics to ship over to America. He's hired the finest printer in all the world, but he was arrested by the police and is now in jail. The Don wants us to free him, but to do that we'll have to break into the prison. The plan is simple. Leo will run a distraction, Cesare keeps watch, and I sneak in and get the guy. After strangling several guards, we freed the guy, but he says he needs a sketchbook with all his designs in order to do his work. Of course, this is where things go off the rails. After we raided the head guard's hentai collection, we're assaulted by a group of violent weebs. So we do a little gene pool cleansing until we're stopped by the head weeb himself, and he desperately wants his waifu collection back. As he's about to put me down, my friends show up and we drive off with his precious collection. Arriving back at home, we're told to lay low, but before we get inside, we see someone's broken into our apartment. Turns out it's just Isabella, and she's here to stay the night. The following weeks have been paying dividends for us. The hentai has finally reached the American markets and they're loving it more than McDonald's. To show us their appreciation, they've sent us cigarettes, weapons, and a junk car we're going to fix up for a race. Finally, it's time to become a professional racist. The only issue is that it's an exclusive club, and the spots are already taken. So we just need to frame this just right, and boom, we're blackmailing him. With our spot secured, all that's left now is to test drive the car. So we decided to race the train, and despite it almost exploding, we did in fact beat it. Now, we just gotta beat everyone else. Now that the car is tuned up and I'm dressed like the fucking Unabomber, let's race. Well, shit. Not to worry though, after some extremely fair and clean racing, we came out on top. Arriving back home later that night, Isabella decided to stay the night with me to, celebrate the victory. Unfortunately, we're awakened by a loud pounding on the door. It's creepy Uncle Tino again. He's explaining to us that the printing facility is about to be raided and we need to get everyone out and save as much of the art as possible. As soon as we arrive, several platoons of guards show up as well, including the head guard again. Man, this guy really wants his cartoon chicks back. After sneaking around and warning our guys, we find the artist and tell him to run. But before he left, he told us where the art was being kept. As soon as we get inside, we see Leombra laying into Cesare, but before we can intervene, he notices us, bowls a fucking strike, and drove off without a word. Fortunately, he took off in the car loaded with our precious product, so we tracked him to this camp, and once I found him, Cesare snuck up behind him and knocked the ugly right off his head. But Cesare hit him so hard, his brainstem detached from his brain, and he was dead before he hit the ground. What I meant to say was, oh no, how unfortunate. This is why you don't drink and drive. What a terrible shame. After Leombra's death, things are growing tense. Baron Fontanella walks in and explains that the strike is occurring at a factory. Of course, we decide to look into it after he says Vincenzo Lorenzetti is behind it. So, I arrive at the factory and some passerbys say they saw a guy being drugged into the factory. So we break into the factory and shoot our way up to the main office, but we were too late. He's already dead. I stand up for a mere second and get a nice haircut from Il Merlot. But before I could do anything, Il Merlot in a schizophrenic rage decided to torch the whole factory with his goons inside. After the factory fiasco, the family are attending a Saints' Day baptism for Luca and Valentina's son. But of course, things don't go to plan as they took the term photo shoot a little too literally. Since the sniper has the high ground, I have to make my way around the plaza while taking fire from this one dude with a bottomless clip. Once I reach the top, Enzo takes 7 years to swing the knife, and as a result, Il Merlot's getting away. We chased him across the rooftops until he slipped some old lady a 10 for her to open the window and clothesline the hell out of me. In that time, he managed to get a car and sped off, forcing me to chase him on a horse. I chase him all the way across the countryside until he crashes and rolls down a hill. Fortunately, he wasn't dead and he jumped out at me from the wreckage. In my confusion, he managed to get on top of me and was taking his choking kink a little too far before Luca kink-shamed him so badly his head literally exploded. Nah, I'm fooling you again, he blew his fucking brains out. With the flames of the Mafia war burning strong, Master Cordova and Fontanella demand the Don meet with Spadaro to negotiate peace. Arriving at the table, Fontanella and Spadaro blindside Teresi with a proposal. They tell him that Fontanella is going to be selling his land to Spadaro, and in the process selling the Don's home to him as well. Of course, Teresi crashes out, and as a result, Spadaro executes Order 66 and lights the warehouse up. As we're fighting back, Luca gets shot and we're forced to shoot our way out of the warehouse until Cesare brings a truck and I cover our escape to Leo's bar. Luca warns us and tells us to get out of this life if we can before he decides to take a quick nap. After a couple days passed, we reconvene at the villa. The Don asks me to meet with him in the cellar and kicks Cesare out so he can speak with me alone. He's heard that the Baron and Spadaro are settling their deal at the opera in the city, and has asked me to go and deal with them. Arriving at the opera house, we're greeted by a priest who then lures us into an underground tunnel so we can sneak into the opera house. After sneaking past all the armed guards, we make it to the Baron's box and we assassinate him. But of course, right on cue, Spadaro walks in halfway through and alerts all the armed guards as the Baron's body falls off the balcony and into the crowd. Man, we're really terrible at being a hitman. Now, we have to shoot our way out while chasing down Spadaro. Eventually, our chase leads us back into the waterways where he jumps me from around a corner. Now, we have a proper English tussle. With Spadaro down, we can finally get out of here and back to the villa. We give the Don Spadaro's ring to prove he's dead, and he informs us he buried Luca. So we choose to pay him a visit where it's revealed we will indeed be leaving the Teresi family behind to run away with Isabella when the time is right. The following months we've been slowly withdrawing from the family, and a couple people are taking notice. But we're doing just enough as to not arouse suspicion. As such, we're ordered to a barn where we hear what sounds like aggressive sex occurring, but it's just the Don giving the food guy from the intro a persistent right hook. He's called us here to give us some serious fuck me eyes, but also to inform us that he owns the mine now and wants us to be in charge of it. But first, we're tasked with taking down the last of the Spadaro captains. Cesare is going for Caccini, and I'm going for Mazzone. Of course, I take my guy down quick and easy since I'm smooth like that. Cesare, however, is having some problems. I approach the ruins where Caccini is located and all hell is breaking loose. Under the cover of the chaos, the captain is making a getaway in his car and he speeds off to a windmill, as if that's gonna save him. Unfortunately for him, his guards are suffering from stormtrooper aim and we take them all down. The final guy is hiding in a church and he comes out begging and pleading with me. I plug him without a second thought, but creepy Uncle Tino isn't finished yet. He lures the priest to help this guy into a dark room, and I don't even want to imagine the unspeakable things he has planned for him. Anyway, we finish the night off at Leo's bar. Leo hands us an envelope with 2 boat tickets and tells us to stay gone if we leave. A couple days pass by and it's finally time. We pick up Isabella and make our way to the train station to ride to the docks. Once we arrive on the platform, we're ambushed by Tino and Cesare plus some assorted goons. Turns out, the priest Isabella confided in informed the family of what was going on. They take Isabella away and take us to the mine where it all began. They escort me to the Don where he proceeds to beat my ass. But before anything else happens, the volcano suddenly erupts and everyone turns to look at it. So I seize the opportunity and tackle Cesare through the window. We absolutely demolish his ass in a knife fight, but choose to spare him. Man, I really hope this won't have any future consequences. On my way out, I hear suspicious grunting from behind me. It's the Don, and I give him one quick shank and that's pretty much it. He tries giving me the fuck me eyes one more time, but dies. From behind, I hear Cesare call my name, and shockingly, he extends a helping hand and we hug it out. But I get an unwelcome surprise when something else extends. No, that's not a euphemism. He stabbed me. But before the game ends, we play as Isabella for a really basic stealth section. Here we have to escape the family since they want to terminate her and Enzo's baby. On our way out, creepy Uncle Tino grabs us and we have to slice him 3 times before we can escape. Since he's senile as hell, he's not really an issue. But on our way out, we run into Cesare. He hands us the bloody tickets and we finally make our way to America. Well, that's it. Playing this game solely as a furry made it extremely hard to take seriously, but it made it immensely more enjoyable. Overall, if I had to choose between playing the game normally and playing it this way, I'd pick this way easily. Anyway, thanks for watching. Until we meet again.